So now we're getting to the meaning of the parable. So Jesus breaks down what is this, these seeds going in thorns and eaten by birds. And so Matthew 13:18 to 23.
Parable of the sower explained. Therefore, hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away what was sown in his heart. This is he who receives seed. This is he who receives seed by the wayside.
So we see that the parable isn't really about the sower, and it's not really about the seeds. It's about the soils. So he talks about 4 different types of soils. So there's only one type of seed being sown, but it's going to 4 different types of soil. And the soil is our heart. It's our heart. It's our heart, our feeling, our will. It's your spiritual development is based on how you receive the word in your heart. So all of these people, all of these soils, they got the same seed. They received the same gospel, but they had different results. And so the first is the seeds that fell on the road. So the seeds that fell on the road, it says those are the ones who didn't understand. So this one we see that, so people didn't understand, but if you didn't understand, it says that Satan came and took the seed from them. But the thing to notice about it, though, is that of the 4 seeds, this is the only one that Satan attacked, was a person who didn't understand. So the other seeds that failed, it wasn't because of Satan. So the ones that the Satan attacked were the ones that they didn't understand it. And so it may be that they had a hard heart like the Pharisees, but another problem, people don't understand it, could be that if it was told to them wrong. So if they never, so that they didn't understand the truth because the truth wasn't told to them. So a lot of times we want to ignore doctrine, but if someone teaches you the wrong doctrine, then you understand what they told you, but it's not the truth. You don't understand, so now you're at risk of Satan stealing the seed from you because you don't understand. So we do need to make a point to validate for ourselves, not just accept, because there are different opinions about various things, and we don't want, and if you misunderstand it, you're open to Satan. Discernment isn't the ability to discern truth from lies. It's the ability to discern truth from almost truth. So a lot of doctrines you'll hear, they'll be right, just one little thing in there that's wrong, but the one little thing can trip you up, can give you doubt, like we were talking about healing, like, we talked about before, like if you have faith, God will always heal you. But now if someone doesn't get healed, it's like, okay, well then this problem is either something wrong with me or something wrong with God. And if your doctrine doesn't leave any, and you say, well, I know I had faith, so then now you're doubting God. And so it's like, it's true, but it's like just a little bit wrong. But it leaves you now to doubt God, and it's like
a little opening there.
That's open to unbelief right there.
Right.
Yeah,
That will continue on and on. And he will find a way to ask God, get that belief back in me. You have to just go remind me, God, where I lost that belief in you. And you'll be reminded of that right there.
It puts doubt in you.
A lot of doubt, worry, anxiety. All that will come right out.
It's kind of like we talked about. It's like, because it's like
I
believe this about God, but my reality that I'm seeing in the world doesn't match, what I'm told the Bible says. So it's like the Bible must be wrong, or God must be a liar. But it's like, well, no, what you're being told is not quite exactly right.
Did he really say?
Really say. There you go.
I think it's almost like when we have these preachers that are preaching all about God, that He's good, right? Holstein and Joey Mayers, and then so they don't teach you the whole Bible, the story of Job, right? So when you're going through that, that doesn't mean because we're bad also, or God is punishing us, right? And so when that's the people that doubt probably that there is God, because they don't know, they don't know the word. You know, you just know the gospel. That's it.
Right, or even that people that don't want to teach that there's an enemy. So if something happens, everybody says, "Oh, it must have been God." It's like, well, no, that wasn't God. That was, God must have not. God must have took the seed from that person. They got a seed that went from their heart. It must have been God. It's like, no, God didn't do it. The enemy did it. So it's like, God must be bad because he did that. It's like, well, no, that wasn't God. So that kind of, if we don't teach the whole gospel, then, everything that happens is God's will. It's like, the biggest sin I ever committed in my life, I guess God wanted me to do it.
Right. We're bordering on a big conversation I heard and got somewhat involved with about all things happen for the good, and so the thought was, wait a minute. Someone said, you mean to tell me that 9/11 and all those lives that were lost, you're saying that was for the good? And it's like, so it's like, and if that's, so what,
well, see, that's,
how do you explain
well, that's
that?
one of the things. The verse doesn't say all things happen for the good. It says he uses all things for good.
Yeah.
So he uses bad things for good. He can use so it doesn't mean that this thing was good. This thing was bad.
It was horrible.
But he can use it for good.
I
mean, but some things, that we consider bad might be good, but other things, but God doesn't. Everything that happens isn't good. Everything that happens isn't good. But God can use it for good. But then it continues. It says for those who, there's a condition too. But so it's not everything that happens is good. It's like everything that happens can be used for good for these group of people.
Yes. Okay.
I feel like part of the lie is in desperate situations that there's no hope. But then God's good is like even in the worst of circumstances, like the lady Corey Ten Boom's sister, right? Like so she was in the concentration camp, and her you remember? Did I ever share? I don't remember if I shared this. And then her sister, like they're incarcerated because their family had helped Jewish families escape, and what happened was they're in this concentration camp. And older sister and her are getting bitten by fleas. And then the Corey Ten Boom says to her sister, why is God even sending the fleas on us? And then the sister's response is, you'll see, God, it's out of his good that he has this. You'll see. And her sister doesn't make it to the end. But Corey gets out of the concentration camp. And she learns later on that it's the reason why the German soldiers didn't go and bother them or assault them or anything was because they were afraid of the fleas. And so she's like, my sister was right. It was like, isn't that like amazing? Even in something that's like when you're in the middle of that situation, you're like, God, why? And she was even to the point she was able to reconcile, and one of the soldiers got saved. So God uses those really crazy, dark situations.
And the thing is, sometimes, so she understood later. Sometimes we don't get to find out later why it was good. We won't find out till we get to heaven.
That's right.
So it's I mean, but but so a lot of times bad things that we consider bad, maybe God using it, it may be enemy. It may be, we say it could be sowing and reaping. Could be, it's like I threw a bag of rocks in the air. I got hit in the head with a rock. Why is God punishing me? It's like, well, no, that's what happens when you throw rocks in the air. It's not God punishing you. When you do stupid stuff, bad stuff happens. It's not God. That's